when you live in a city that's as rough as mine, you get this type of work all the time.
Everything to be an underground king, underground king. I sacrifice everything to be an underground king.
So normally fixing something like this, you probably would want a welder. That way you can weld up a good clean patch into your hole or your damaged area, and then you can fill it with body filler. But everybody doesn't have access to a welder or know how to weld. So fixing this hole with fiberglass cloth will be a great alternative. And let's show you how. So what I'll be using to fix that bullet hole is going to be some fiberglass resin, and this brand is Bondo, a paintbrush, some fiberglass cloth, not the strands or the fiberglass strands. I got some plastic gloves, got my grinder, my scissors to cut the fiberglass cloth. I also got a cup and an old mixing stick that I've been using, mixing up some fiberglass with. So that's what we're going to use. And I also suggest having some safety glasses for when you're using the grinder and grinding the old paint off. So let's get to it. All right, so for the sake of this video not being too long, I already ground my paint back. Took my grinder, got some bare metal. Then I took some 80 grit, kind of feather edge the paint around it. It's good to also have a body hammer. Tap around the surface. You want that to be lower than the rest of the panel so you can feel it, and then you straighten it back out. So now that I got everything stripped, I'm going to start cutting my strips of my fiberglass cloth, and then we'll start applying it to the body. I cut one long strip of the fiberglass cloth, then I cut it into 3 pieces, and I'm just gonna go from smallest that'll cover the hole, and then as I add another, it'll get bigger, and then one final piece that's even bigger once I stretch it all across, and that'll give me, you know, maximum coverage, and it's gonna work well for us. So now it's time to mix up some resin and get this thing covered up. Okay, so I'm going to mix up my fiberglass resin. Got my gloves. And I also have my fiberglass. And I'm going to make up about 1 ounce. That should be enough to mix up and fix the area that we are trying to fix. And if I need more, then I can always mix up more. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball about 1 ounce in this mixing cup. Right up to about that line. Should be about 1 ounce. So I think we are going to be good there. For every ounce, you will have 10 drops of the liquid hardener. So for every ounce, it's 10 drops of hardener. And let's say you had 2 ounces, then it would be 20 drops, 30 drops. If you had 3, 4, it'd be 40 drops, so on and so forth. So let's get the drops in and mix it up. All right, I'll get this mixed up and then we'll get over to the panel that we're fixing and get this going. All right, so got our mixture made up. Take my brush. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some fiberglass around the area that I want to lay the cloth down on. And doing this, when I lay the cloth down, it's going to stick to it. Going to take my smallest piece first, and I'm going to lay it down and cover it. Now that is tacked up and on there, I'm going to take some more resin with the brush and just start applying it onto the cloth. And I like to kind of like dab the ends so it can kind of bond with the first layer of resin that we put on there. I think we got that pretty good. Got my second piece. Just gonna apply that over the smaller piece. And repeat the process. What you want to do is get it good and saturated. You want it all those 3 layers, or however many layers that you use, you want them to bond together pretty good. And it's going to give you a good strong foundation for when you start doing your filler work. All right. It'll move on you just a little bit, but that's all right. All you have to do is just kind of adjust it with the brush where you want it. And just like that, we have our 3 layers on, and we're going to be good to go. Now, the instructions say for the resin to dry for at least 3 hours. So what we're going to do is just let this sit until tomorrow. We'll come back, we'll sand this down, then we'll start applying our filler and get this thing finished up. Now it's the next day and our resin has dried, so it's good and solid. It's going to give us a good foundation. So what we're going to do next is take some 80 grit on my DA, and we're going to sand this down and get it to where we can start applying our filler. Now I'm doing 80 on the DA, but you also could use the grinder with a 36 grit disc. That'll work also, but I'm gonna go with the 80. And I'm gonna use my mask, get this sanded, and get on to the next step. So now that we got everything sanded like we want, and we're ready for some fiberglass filler, got some mixed up, and I'm just gonna fill in my area. And I don't have to cover the whole thing, I'm just trying to cover the area that was low and kind of build it up. And the fiberglass filler is going to add extra strength. All right, so I took my DA with the 80 grit and I knocked down my fiberglass filler. So now that I got the whole area filled in, I'm gonna take my body filler and I'm gonna go over that, and it'll probably be one good coat should cover it, and then I'll be able to blend it back into the body and then get everything nice and straight. And once we get everything good and straight, we should be able to start applying some primer. So let me mix up some body filler, get this going, and then move on to the next step. All right, so now we got our body filler applied, and I'm gonna take my block with some 80 grit, and then I'm gonna take another block with some 150, and I'm just gonna go in an X pattern like so and block everything out flush. Then I'll smooth it out again with the 150, and then after that we should be able for our first coat of primer. And then after our first coat of primer, if we see any issues, then we can fix that with our glazing putty. And after that we can apply primer again and should be good to go. So now that the body filler has been applied and I got it sanded like I want to, it feels nice. I prepped the area, then I taped it off. So now all I'm gonna do is take some primer and build it up for my first coat, and we should be good to go. We'll block that out and see if it's ready for paint. So let's apply this primer and move on to the next step. All right, kings and queens. So I hope this video helps anybody looking for an alternative procedure to fixing bullet holes, like in this case, or possibly fixing rust spots and other patches that you might need to fix on your vehicle. And if so, and you'd like to see more videos like this one, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. So, this is your boy, the UP King, and we out.
Everything